Warning, what you are about to hear will disrupt the norm. We are the voice of the social misfit. We empower the outliers.
Nah, don't run from the discomfort. You need to stay in it. Feel the feels and feel some type of way. Let it hit your core, because that's where our healing and our change begins.
System malfunction. System override.
Four, 3, 2, we're live.
Hey, you guys, welcome to Feeling Triggered podcast, where we're going to talk about some things and hopefully you're going to feel some type of way about it. We're shifting Feeling Triggered podcast right now. Initially, we were talking about all things triggering, but now we're going to get a little bit more specific with our niche and focus on entrepreneurship and focus on workaholics and all of the things that stress us, bring us anxiety, challenge us, make us feel some type of way. So I have to have my entrepreneur crew to set it off for this inaugural shift in niche for the podcast. So you guys know that I'm Lauren. You guys see me like all the time, but you guys go on and say who you are.
Go ahead, Sarah.
Hey y'all, I'm Sarah.
And I'm Jarrell, CEO and founder of the Griotsphere Productions.
Hey.
I guess I could have said mine too.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to give you a spiel.
Okay.
I didn't say mine either though, so that's okay.
Okay. I am the CEO and founder of Sarah Ray Marketing Agency.
Yes.
And I am the executive director of Propel Production Center. So Jarrell was the only one who was ready for intros.
I was ready.
Today.
I'm excited. I'm excited. I think Go Ahead Sarah is about to be a tagline. It's about to be a saying on the podcast, because I always be trying to let Sarah go first because I know I'll be rapping.
Hashtag Go Ahead Sarah.
Hashtag Go Ahead Sarah. But then it's going to be different inflections, right? Because you could be like, oh yeah, go ahead, Sarah. But it's like, go ahead, Sarah. Like, we're gonna get a Go Ahead Lauren. Go Ahead Lauren too. We're gonna put that one in.
No, I want a different one. That could be Sarah's. Well, it's gonna happen organically.
I got you.
And I feel like Jarrell's is gonna be like, "Hey, yo, chill, son," because he goes on these tangents that,
like I just did.
And I'm like, okay, come back. No, it's gonna be come back.
Yeah, come back,
Jarrell.
Come on back.
Come back.
Okay. Speaking of, come back, Jarrell, because we went on a tangent already without even doing our very first segment. So our first segment on Feeling Triggered podcast is Feel the Feels, because it's important to provide check-in space and opportunity, for friends, family, loved ones, just to kind of see how are they doing, what's going on in their space. And it's a great opening for us so we can get a little bit more grounded and focused on our topic for the day. So how are you guys feeling? What's going on? Let me check in with you guys. Go ahead, Sarah.
I was waiting for him to say it, but I was like, well, let me start before he said go ahead. I am feeling very good. I'm feeling very empowered. I recently launched my my business. So I'm still in like the launch phase, the honeymoon stage, like still living on a cloud right now. So I feel good. I feel empowered, prepared, ready to just dive into the work of my business. And yeah, it's honeymoon phase over here.
And I'm going to second that. I am also in launch honeymoon phase of my business. Literally Monday, or the Monday that just passed when you guys are watching this, that will mark my 1-month anniversary as a entrepreneur and business owner, the Griotsphere Productions. So I'm super excited, super just invigorated by being around so many entrepreneurs and people that's pursuing their passions over everything else, not settling for lesser than, but going after what they want to get. So that's just inspiring for me as well. So I'm in a really good place right now. I'm in a really good place.
I think I'm not where y'all are. I I don't think frazzled is a good word, but I'm kind of teetering on like stress of
Yeah.
having a lot to do. Summer is our busiest season, so stress, but we're also taking on a lot of new projects. So it's a lot. And unfortunately, all of the a lot right now isn't generating revenue, which is stressful too. Because there's some moments in our company where you have to do the work, but it doesn't provide you the dollars for those tasks.
Mhm.
So that's where I am. I am grateful though to be in a space of growth and opportunity, but I'm on the like, who little child, this right here is a lot.
Mm.
That's where I am right now.
I can feel that. I can feel that too. Especially because of course Lauren's talking about all these projects and opportunities that are coming in and trying to prepare for those. And being that we do a lot of collaborations, I'm sitting as a part of that, and that's the thing that's inspiring. Lauren's one of the individuals who is inspired. I don't know about Sarah, but definitely me to go ahead and step out and do what we got to do because I just like how Lauren be moving. So shout out to Boss Lady, man. She be
Thank
moving
you.
crazy. So, I say to that, those are very honest and very uh necessary feelings to have. But we got your back. So we're gonna move through all of these projects. And although the immediate gratification of financial stimulation coming from this work may not be there, but I see a lot of long-term bang for our buck that we're gonna see some passive profits
Big
in the
facts.
future. So
And I appreciate you being vulnerable too, because
facts.
a lot of the time entrepreneurs like to put on social media like, oh, my business is perfect. Oh, everything is going, wonderfully. And I know that, during the journey of entrepreneurship, you have ups and you have downs. It's a roller coaster. So I appreciate you being vulnerable and letting us know that you are in a season of stress, because I know that we can relate to you. Well, we will be when we get into like the real thick of it.
Thanks, guys. I really want to I really want to actively live differently within my entrepreneurial space, especially as a clinical social worker, because I want there to be a fusion of seeing how mental health and emotional wellness impacts your day to day. And if you're an entrepreneur, then your day to day is work, like
Mhm.
small business stuff. And there's going to be some moments when it's unicorns and rainbows, and then there's going to be some thunderstorms. And just, I want to create a space where we can talk about all of that because it's necessary. Like you said, Sarah, we don't really see it. So it almost makes me feel weird or like I'm doing something wrong if I'm not portraying, like if I'm not feeling the same way that a lot of social media images portray within the social media business sector. So yeah, girl, we just need space and opportunity to be real.
Mhm.
And what's even crazier is that a lot of the, like you said, the public persona of entrepreneurs is so like boisterous in how they feel like, oh, I'm just perfect and everything going great and this is the best life ever, that it actually causes conflict between entrepreneurs and people who work a traditional 9 to 5. And my thoughts are always, as an entrepreneur, eventually you're going to want to have employees. They're going to be the people who are going to be considered 9 to 5 employees. So you looking down on what they do now at this point is going to pretty much render you disabled when it comes to growing your business because you're going to need that side of the table. So I just want to put on record that, of course, as we all living on both sides at one point or another, or fully in a 9 to 5 and not having any entrepreneurial endeavors going on, like I have respect for and I appreciate both sides of the table. Though I feel like I'm better suited to be sitting on this side, I do understand that it's people who are not, and those are the people that we're trying to find to come help us, build what it is, the visions in the projects and all that good stuff that we see. So shout out to my 9 to 5ers too, and a lot of the conversations that we're going to have on our new revamped version of Feeling Triggered. Yes, they're going to be our target audience is entrepreneurs, but some of the triggering things that we're going to talk about relate just as much to what you guys go through in the 9 to 5 space as entrepreneurs do. So don't think y'all left out or y'all can't listen to us as well.
Yeah, we're really just generating content for workaholics and creating space for wellness Like, I think that as far as self-care, we're trying to position it as if work, work really hard, and then when you're done, designate this amount of time for self-care. But it's important to start integrating emotional health practices and self-care strategies throughout the day so you can work and be well at the same time, especially for entrepreneurs who don't have a traditional start and end time frame for their day or their week. You need to be practicing self-care constantly while you're working. And I think we're going to get in, well, I know we're going to get into it towards the end when we talk about art of expression, what's an easy way to promote self-care like throughout the workday. But before we do that, I want to get into this next segment called trigger warning, where Jarrell, Sarah, and I will get to talk a little bit about our business and what's been the hardest part of your entrepreneurship journey. So when it's your turn to speak, talk a little bit about what your business is, what your business does, and what's been the hardest part so far.
Go ahead, Sarah.
That is gonna catch on real quick.
I told you it's going to.
Okay, let me think. So, well, like I said before, I have a business, Sarah Ray Marketing. So, what I do is I help entrepreneurs, small business owners, and brands maneuver through social media. So, I am like your one stop shop social media queen. Like, you can get it all here. If you want me to run your page, I'll happily run your page for you. If you want me to teach you how to maneuver through social media so that you can increase your engagement, I am there. Or I can just provide you with resources that you might need in order to have your page running smoothly. So check me out, sarahmarketing.com. I don't know if I was supposed to drop my little
Girl, drop it.
right there, but I did. So, like I said, the hardest thing I think for me is honestly balancing entrepreneurship and motherhood. I am a new, well, fairly new. I had my son in November and I started my entrepreneurial journey in, well, I just launched last week, but I started with the idea probably in January. So, staying home, my son is home with me full time. Like I have him the entire day because my husband is at work. So, it's just me and him. So, managing him, keeping him busy, making sure I'm taking care of him, but then also making sure that I sit down and I actually do work for my business has probably been the hardest obstacle for me to tackle. My day, my sometimes my business day doesn't even start until 8 o'clock at night when he goes to bed. And then I work from like 8 to like 1 in the morning. So sometimes that's my business day and I just have to take it and I have to live with that. So I think finding that perfect balance is the struggle that I'm facing right now. And I probably will face it for a while because he's not going anywhere. So I mean, scheduling, it's just, yeah, it's just it's a lot to balance and juggle. So that's what I'm struggling with right now.
Well, a happy belated Mother's Day to you, Sarah.
Oh, thank
And I can definitely, that's, I mean, I'm sure there are plenty what is it,
mompreneurs.
mompreneurs that can definitely relate. I'm not a mom, so I don't have to deal with that. I don't have to deal with that struggle, that obstacle. As I said, the Griotsphere Productions is what I like to call a creative hub for passion-provoking purpose projects or purpose-provoking passion projects, whichever way you want to look at it. But we specialize in all things digital media. So similarly to how Sarah was discussing how she can help you through your social media journey, in terms of content creation on various platforms, that's where the Griotsphere could come and help, either in service mode, whether in commissioning us to do videography, photography, audio production, podcast production, event hosting, public speaking. So all of these different services that we provide. We also do workshops as well in teaching digital media. We have a self-reliance course that is for indie artists, as well as small business owners who don't want to pay that overhead to hire someone like me, because with the equipment we bring and the expertise we bring to the table, our skills can be very expensive in some aspects. So for those small business owners who don't have a large budget to create content, we teach you how some cost-effective ways to still create quality content that Sarah can help you market without having to pay that huge overhead. So aside from that, we do a lot of in-house production, produced in the Griotsphere. At Fielding Triggered Podcast is one of the in-house productions that we are currently doing. We'll be doing some scripted series. We got a lot of things in the works. And of course, we collaborate closely in programs for students with Propel Production Center as well. So we are actually in our soft launch phase right now. Our official launch is May 19th. So when you guys are watching this right now, when you guys are watching this, we have already launched. So please go visit us, www.enterthetha, don't forget the A, THA, Griotsphere, GRIOTSPHERE.com. You can look at it right here on the screen. Go check us out. Make sure you subscribe because we got content coming and a whole bunch of other craziness. But with all that said, the hardest part of my journey right now is just really relinquishing the idea of a controlled space in terms of my occupational wellness. For the longest time, I feel like my journey into entrepreneurship was so stagnant because of my fear of that consistency and that stability that comes with a 9-to-5. But of course, with the pandemic and everything going virtual, I managed to kind of dip my toe in the water with entrepreneurship because I'm working from home. So I'm able to kind of better, my job's not monopolizing all of my time. So I was able to kind of shake and move, make a couple of partners. As I said, I've been working with Propel for the past few years. So that kind of helps spawn the ideas. But then, as the world starts to open back up, you realize I've been at home or I've been doing my own thing for this long, and you expect me to come back and then go back to that what I consider mundane, systematic living. No, no. But with that systematic living, with that comes that stability, which I think was eliminated for everybody once we hit the pandemic. Realizing that even in that 9-to-5, that still isn't job stability in the way that you thought it was. So that pushed me into overdrive. So now my hardest part is just maintaining that confidence that I'm out here for a reason and that God's going to provide what's necessary for me to keep doing what I love to do, which is telling stories through digital media. So that's my hardest part of the journey.
That was good. So I'm the executive director of Propel Production Center. It's a nonprofit organization that develops expressive art-based programs, products, and services that either talk about emotional wellness or talk about entrepreneurship. So lately during COVID, I've been really focused on entrepreneurship and providing a safe, supported space for small business owners, because like we said earlier, there's really not a space to be real by saying, as an entrepreneur, I don't know how to set up a website, or how do you start a marketing campaign, or how do you send a cold call or email to a corporate sponsor, or how do you develop a budget for your program or your product. Like there's these burning questions where there's not really a place where we can say, help me, I don't know what I'm doing. Because within the social media space, you have to present as an expert in your field and as a professional in your field to, to have some authority and credibility. So I've been focusing on that. And, there was a pandemic. So as a clinical social worker, I've been focusing on developing more fun and engaging expressive arts programs like the Smash Room that we launched this past summer, using aromatherapy more often. So just providing those types of solutions for entrepreneurship needs and for emotional wellness needs. Now, with that, the hardest part of my journey is probably free falling financially. So I've been an entrepreneur with Propel since 2013 is when I did the paperwork, and 2016 was when I started my first program. but I've always also had a contracting position on the side. So even if Propel did not reach its financial goals, Lauren personally was fine because my bills were paid by my contracting gigs. But during COVID, I quit my last contracting gig just due to emotional burnout and stress, and have been focusing exclusively on Propel, which is scary, period. But it's especially scary when your bills don't stop. So I'm in this space where I'm still building my company, but this company needs to build pretty quickly because the dollars, I mean, T-Mobile, Verizon, mortgage, they're all knocking on my door. So being in that space where I've even had conversations with Sarah on the side to say, should I go back? Should I be a part-time contractor again just to make sure my finances are good? Or should I stay 100% entrepreneur, skin in the game, and just praying and anticipating and expecting some financial blessings and some stability within entrepreneurship? Because Propel, when we get paid, is normally through projects or proposals or through grants, which is not a 24/7, 365 stream of revenue. So, really focusing on ways to become a little bit more creative with our financial endeavors and hoping that something sticks and grows for consistency purposes. So, that's been the hardest thing. Not trying to renege on being a full time entrepreneur and just anticipating and expecting that the money is going to come now that I've leaped, like both feet are off the ground. Where the money at? You know. So I know moving on from that, I want to hear about you guys and understand why on earth did you guys choose entrepreneurship and what type of needs or challenges are you trying to address with your company specifically for Black and Brown communities?
Mm. Go ahead,
Um,
Sarah.
I should just wait till you say it. Okay. Let's see. So I started my entrepreneurship journey for freedom and flexibility. I wanted to ultimately have freedom to do whatever I wanted when I wanted to do it. If I wanted to go on vacation in February, I didn't want to have to be like, well, my student, because I was a teacher, I didn't want to have to say, like, oh, but I don't have any PTO. I wanted to be able to just get up and go and work from anywhere. Also, flexibility. I always wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. Didn't really want my kids to be in daycare. Nothing's wrong with daycare, but I just wanted to teach them at home. Like I'm a teacher, I wanted to do schedules. I just wanted to be with them all the time because they're only little for a little bit of time. So I knew that I needed to find something that I could do at home and still bring in money to support my household. And honestly, being an entrepreneur was the only way that I could do it. So I really sat down and I thought about really what I loved doing. And honestly, this kind of like fell into my lap, this whole social media journey. And it was because of the pandemic. When everything closed down, the only way that I had to connect with the world was through social media. So I had to like really dig in, like, what can I do on social media? How can I, increase my engagement? And I stumbled across influencing, and I really love that. And influencing actually taught me how to build an engaging community. And I was like, wow, I know, this is great information. Let me share it with the world. So that's kind of how I got into like social media management. And then also, I'm a teacher. So why not teach other people what I already know? Because I already have like the organization and the systems from teaching. So, the problem that I'm really trying to solve is letting people know that, you know, if you have a small business, you have to market it on social media because that's the main way that you're going to get people in front of, your product or whatever you're selling or your service. I told Lauren, we did a live on Instagram, and I use this example a lot. Like, think of an artist, like a bomb artist, like you are, the best artist out there, but if you don't show anybody your pieces of work, you're never ever ever going to make any sales. So you're just essentially painting and just leaving them in your house. Like nobody's going to see them. And social media is the only way that you can get in front of people. So I just want to give, other entrepreneurs, other small businesses, and even other brands like influencers and anybody, I just want to get them out in front of other people so that they can make money too. Because essentially it's about making money. It's not about, followers or anything. It's about the funds that you're going to make by getting in front of your target audience. So that's my problem. That's what I'm trying to help everybody. You can do it too. I can do it. You can do it. Let me show you how to do it. Let me give you the tools and the resources so that you can get your product or service in front of your target audience so you can make that money and then quit your 9 to 5. Nothing against 9 to 5,
Listen,
but
listen. And I just want to say, y'all, and Jarrell, you might want to cut this up and give this to Sarah so she can use it as a soundbite for
Yeah.
her social media or whatever. But let me just say, you can tell that Sarah is a teacher first before she
Mhm.
became a social
Mhm.
media marketer, especially when you work with her, just because how she breaks down concepts and makes them very palatable for you to understand. Because there are so many different, well, one's marketing is huge, a huge entity that a lot of us didn't go to school for, and we don't know what a lot of these words mean or what do these concepts mean or why do we have to do certain things. But she breaks things down and explains them so eloquently, and it's not in a demeaning or a condescending way. It's just a very like, I'm a regular person, you're a regular person. Let's just talk about sharing stories and sharing ideas versus incorporating all of that other technical jargon. And I will say that you can tell that she's a teacher because she's so patient. I, for one, ask lots of questions. I just think I'm curious in nature. And she's just very patient with explaining and answering all of my questions. And I feel like that she approaches social media marketing strategies the same way a teacher would address lesson plans. Just how she plans out, like, okay, this day you're going to do this, and this day you're going to do this, and this post is going to be used to explain this, but this post is needed to explain that. And she's really good with editing because as a client of Sarah's, she can look at my Instagram page and be like, okay, no, this is what you need to stop doing right now. Stop doing this, minimize this, edit this, review this. This is hard to understand. Simplify this. Y'all listen, you guys need to visit her website right now, follow her on Instagram, and really, book with somebody who is patient and understanding and passionate with social media marketing versus a traditional run of the mill standard procedure type of marketing. So,
Game.
yeah. So
thank
boom,
you, lady.
girl,
Absolutely.
anytime.
Uh,
And I wanted to bring people on that I've used before and I've partnered with before because I want to speak eloquently from a client's perspective, using you guys' services while you all are speaking as your expert. And hopefully vice versa, because you guys have been a part of Propel too. That's what it's about, building cooperative economics, supporting one another within their spaces, highlighting and being proud and like celebrating individually in their prospective spaces. So yes. But go ahead, Jarrell. I know I jumped in there. Go ahead.
um, why did I choose entrepreneurship? So I want to give two answers to this question. One being, it was Lauren's fault, uh, and only because if anyone's ever heard of brand loyalty, I have a bit of a brand loyalty towards Propel Productions. So when Lauren calls with opportunities or Lauren calls with saying I need assistance with this or whatever, I'm kind of like almost drop everything and let's make this move. So we had an opportunity that presented itself that that specific thing happened. Lauren was like, "Yo, I got this happening. I need your help. What's up?" And I'm just like, cool. And the time commitment in conjunction with the job that I had was going to conflict because as I said, as the pandemic was, it's hopefully coming to a close. Things are starting to open back up. People are starting to go back to work. So with that, it would have been a time conflict. So I chose to go with the folks I'm loyal to most. And so yeah, that pushed me all, for lack of better words, yes, pushed me into entrepreneurship because one thing that I also value about Boss Lady, as she's doing right now, is she likes to put on her friends, put on the collaborators that are working with her always. Like we, even in the times where we are working under the Propel head, she still takes extra opportunities to let the people that we're working with know that I have other business entities that are coinciding in this project. So if you need this particular aspect of it, this is who's doing that. If you need that, so we will already making connections. And like I said, getting opportunities to show our own skills. So when she said let's go, I got pushed into it. But on a broader note, why I chose entrepreneurship is because I have a real strong disliking for organization and structure when I'm within the system and I look above me in terms of hierarchy and I see people who are incompetent, to say the least. Unfortunately, I had a couple of job situations where it was clear that I was, and not to sound, vain, but I was surpassing in terms of competency the people who are supposed to be leading me and managing me. And I give so much kudos to Lauren as a leader because I understand her leadership and I can trust in her leadership. When I don't feel I'm in a space to trust the leaders in front of me, it makes me hard to be a follower. It makes it harder for me to be a follower. And I kept running into situations like that. And in talking with Lauren and others, realizing that that's probably because the space that you are supposed to be occupying is partnerships and contracts, not employment. So once I really grasp that concept and understanding that level of self-awareness to saying I'm probably not supposed to be working for somebody because I feel like my ideas, even in the spaces where I'm a great employee, but I feel like my ideas are being wasted on things that I'm not building with people that are not trying to be impactful, more so just to make money or to exploit a situation or a problem. And that's why one of the problems that I'm trying to solve with my self-reliance workshop is saying, I'd rather teach you how to do this. Like the whole, you give a man a fish type of deal. I could keep hitting you for, service prices to come and shoot a video, come and shoot some photos for you, make a simple graphic or anything like that. But I'd rather show you how to do it yourself. So that therefore empowers you. And then we can be more in a collaborative space than you contracted me for my services. So that's one of the biggest problems I'm trying to solve. But more or less, more than anything else, I look at digital media as the new trades, the trades of the millennials. You don't hear about as many people going into plumbing or going into to becoming electricians, HVAC, whatever. But these are trades that of the pretty much 20s on up. We've always been tradesmen in terms of the minority communities because we didn't have direct access to these infrastructures. So we had to make money on our own. Most people were tradesmen, but with these trades disappearing, there was a new wave of trades coming in. If you know how to work a camera, you can always make money. If you know how to work a soundboard, you can always make money. If you know how to edit, you can always make money. Regardless of the barriers, these are new millennial trades that if we equip people with, there's much more of a likelihood that they can get financially independent and basically stimulate our community's economy. Because as Lauren talks about having cooperative economics, if we're all making money and being able to share these opportunities with one another, everybody rises. So that's the problem I'm trying to solve. Just getting people hands on tangible skills that they could use, like Sarah said, to generate some revenue for themselves without the confines of a boss over your head telling you what it is that you got to do, when and how. So that's my motivation.
Okay, now let me hype up Jarrell real quick and say, I don't even know where to begin. So I have brought Jarrell on for numerous projects, mainly because, I feel like everybody should operate within their gifts. And if something's not your gift, then that's where you need to partner and build relationships within. So one, understanding that I want videos and images to go in conjunction with my curriculums and with my programs. So I link Jarrell in with almost every single curriculum and program. And he blows me away time and time again with just how creative and innovative his images, his videos, his sounds are. I can offer him, like, I could pitch him a very raw idea. Like, this is the concept I want to have, but then also know that I have a trust, like I trust him with my project, with my baby, which is really important because I feel like as entrepreneurs, intellectual property is probably the biggest asset that we all have. So by me handing over a piece of my intellectual property to say, this is this curriculum idea I have, this is the concept I have, this is what I want it to look like or sound like or feel like. A lot of the time I speak in feeling words. I can just pass it over to him and trust that he's going to nurture it and build on it and expand it and stretch it. And it exceeds my expectations. And I don't have to say much in order for me to ensure that what I need is being met for the betterment of my client or for the betterment of the students that I'm working with. And I appreciate that it's different and it's new every single time. So whether it's Beautiful Like Me, or whether it's Shout, or whether it's Remix Rage, or whether it's a different project, whether it's this podcast, it's going to have its own identity. It's going to look unique. It's going to feel different. It's going to feel raw. It's going to be able to be preserved over time, which is something really important because if I do a project once, I don't want to go back and have to do it again for the next year. Like, I want it to be able to have a lifelong um, shelf life. So I really appreciate Jarrell with being so passionate and with every single project. Like, if I were to show you all of the different videos that he's done for Propel, you can't tell what the first one was or what the last one was because they all have that same high energy and high passion within the projects. So hit Jarrell up and the Griotsphere up for all of your audio, visual media, digital media storytelling needs for your company. Okay, boom.
Thanks. Thank you,
And
boss lady.
oh, no problem. I'm just speaking facts. And for me, why I chose entrepreneurship, one, my parents, my mom specifically is an entrepreneur. She started her own community center and her own daycare. So I've had entrepreneurship. I've seen it. I've seen what it looks like. Um, but I chose entrepreneurship because there were so many problems within the mental health space that weren't being solved with traditional mental health agencies. Like, everybody doesn't like talk therapy. And a lot of mental health agencies don't go out and do a lot of community based work that's fun and engaging. So I wanted to become an entrepreneur because of that. So, and I'm also focusing on the challenge of normalizing mental health. Back in the day, if we talked about mental health, you were crazy and you should be locked up and locked away, but we're shifting towards everyone has mental health and everyone needs space and opportunity to talk about it and process it and learn the necessary skills to regulate your emotions. So I wanted to come up with unique, fun, innovative ways to do that, especially within communities of color. So that's what I'm doing.
And let me take a second, and especially being as a millennial black man who prior to this summer, actually, well, no, prior to last summer, I would say, had no real exposure. A couple of the programs that I had worked with Lauren prior to, I stayed mostly on the media side, but with some of the new opportunities that presented itself, it offered me the opportunity to get into program facilitating as well. So of course, through that, I had to get some basic level training in mental and emotional health and social emotional learning. So I was transformed by the information that I received from working with those programs, specifically with Remix Rage. Well, like Lauren said, we were talking about stigmas and myths around anger and stress, understanding how to view your feelings as merely messages. Like, there is no good or bad feeling, which a lot of people tend to not have that perspective on how their feelings are. Your feelings are your body telling you something based on some outside stimuli, or even sometimes internal stimuli that's making you feel out of whack. And through some of these experiences that I had to teach younger people, I was fortunate enough to be able to absorb that information and actually, execute it in my own life. And it's been phenomenal. It's just a higher level of self-awareness helps in all areas of your life. And, when we get into our Wellness Will segment, you guys will understand, like I had to learn that mental health is laced all up and through every aspect of your being. So if you give some extra attention to that area of your life, I promise you that you will exude your expectations in every other area. Like, cause I did. I'm a walking testament. Both of, like I said, the Remix Race program. I feel like we're also walking testaments of the Propel Bosses program. So Propel just has so much stuff to help you in your self-development and whatever aspect it is that you feel like you need to develop. We got, in some way, form, or fashion, a program, whether it be in a group setting or individual setting, that will put you in position to be your best self. So shout out to Propel Production Center for changing mental health in the Black community, and all that good stuff, man.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay. Last question within this segment, and then we'll move on to Wellness Will. So, what is your end of year goal? It's May. It's almost half the year is gone. What's your end of year goal as an entrepreneur? And what challenges are you facing moving towards that goal? So, just drop it so if we can support you, cool, but at least put it out in the atmosphere. So, what are your goals for the end of year? And what challenges are you facing?
Go ahead, sir.
Go ahead, Sarah.
So, my goal, that is a wonderful question because I have honestly been thinking about that myself. I want to be able to create bite-sized achievable goals. I don't want to do anything like too lofty. Of course, in a perfect world, yeah, give me six figures, but something that I can like successfully, I think, achieve and work towards. I want to be able to help at least 10 people in their social media journey. Right now, I am at 3. So I have I'm not even halfway there yet, but I believe by the end of the year, if I can help 10 people, I will be successful. Well, in my eyes, I will be successful. And then starting 2022, we can make really big goals. But for now, I just want to help 10 people. Um, my challenges that I'm going to face is I am going to always face scheduling conflicts, balancing, like I said, mom life and business. Consistency, I'm going to face that challenge as well, just because with a baby comes inconsistency. Honestly, with anything comes inconsistency, but like especially me, I don't know how it's going to work. So I need to really, really dive in and focus on that scheduling, that consistency, because I want to be able to do what I'm preaching to other people. And so if I don't put out content, if I fall off, if I'm not present on my social media, I will not be able to help those 10 people. So I'm going to take the advice that I'm giving other people. I'm going to show up on my social media. I'm going to be as consistent as possible, and I'm going to work on my schedule as well. And was that the only question that you asked me?
It
Those
was.
things?
It was
Okay.
a two-part, but yes, you did that.
I answered both of them. Okay,
You
perfect.
hit that on the head. End of the year goals. Like Sarah said, I wanna put some stuff in front of me that's just bite sized, and achievable. To keep me, like I said, in that level of confidence that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And I feel like for me, those goals are a lot more intangible than tangible goals. I do say that I want to equally equally be successful in the each areas of my business. Like I said, we have service. We provide media services, so I want to take on clients and have them ending with the same level of appreciation and approval as Lauren just expressed. I want that type of, because that felt really good to hear, that the passion that I put into it, because as I said before, it's all about passion and purpose provoking projects. Like I don't want to just be collaborating with individuals just for the sake of making a dollar. That is important. And once again, that's why I like Propel, because she makes sure if I'm eating, we're going to all eat. So I do appreciate that. But the overall thing that I wish that I want for is to have impactful collaborations, impactful partnerships that is changing life in some kind of way. So that is my intangible goal, to make sure in my media services I'm providing that and able to do that in my partnerships and collaborations, and in my in-house production. All of those things say impactful pieces of content, purpose-filled, and understanding that it's a level of driving force and passion behind what I'm doing. So not really tangible goals, but definitely some that can be noted, and going in month to month, I'm gonna definitely keep focused on those. Probably the biggest challenge in achieving those is getting in the space like Lauren talked about, where you're battling between passion projects and profit projects, because you know, we all got bills to pay. So I pray that, the Lord provides me with opportunities, and I know He will, that will keep me in the space of still being able to do impactful things while not struggling financially. So that's my goal for 2021.
I feel that. So I'm copying Sarah's consistency and Jarrell's wanting finances that align with like passion. For me, my end of goal would be 1,000 followers on social media. And I've grown a lot during COVID thanks to Sarah's information. So I want 1,000 followers by the end of the year. I think that's feasible. I'm in my 700s. Shout out to y'all if you're listening right now. Hey, y'all. So I'm looking for 1,000 followers by the end of the year. And I'm also wanting to develop some type of Propel catalog that actually lists out all the different programs that we have available, just so I can send it out, whether it's electronically or whether it's through the mail, to start building meaningful connections with existing organizations, whether it be corporate or nonprofit organizations, just so it's just a one-stop shop that they could thumb through and see like, oh, I like this program or I like this service type of menu thing. So, but that boils down to just organizing how I'm pitching to different companies and entities. So I want to get more organized with the operational side of how I do things, and building my presence on social media, because that's how people know you exist. So those are my two things.
And remember what else are we doing, Lauren? I almost forgot. What else did we say we was doing by the end of the year?
I don't. What?
No, we are creating an ebook. Sarah Marketing ebook, and Propel Production Center will have an ebook. Jarrell, if you want to create an ebook with us, you could just think about some topics for your ebook, and we will all.
Girl, yes. I done forgot we was doing that. We are making an ebook, y'all. So that's 3 things by the end of the year.
Coming soon.
But consistency is a struggle for me. So being consistent, and although I do need the money, not chasing the dollar, but being more intentional and in line with who I'm working with, and the money will come because God always provides. Amen. Amen.
Absolutely. Amen.
Okay, moving on to the next segment, which is more brief. We're going to be talking about wellness wheel. So there are 8 different aspects in our life that impact our wellness, and all of them have to be running optimally in order for you to be truly, fully, holistically well and healthy. So this segment, because we're talking to bosses right now, we're going to be talking about occupational wellness. So that means that we are feeling fulfilled, like our purpose is being fulfilled in what we're doing. We feel productive. We feel like that we are utilizing our talents, utilizing our skills, and we are satisfied at work. So if you check all of those boxes, then that means you're moving within occupational wellness. Do you guys feel like you all are aligning, or at least in line with occupational wellness? Do you feel like you're getting there? You feel like you're moving away from that? And how are you balancing? I know, Sarah, we about to cue her in. And how are you balancing the phrase is work-life balance, but I'm gonna flip it and say life-work balance because we really need to start prioritizing our life over work. So how are you doing within the occupational wellness space? You can answer it however you want to answer it.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't know if I'm going to answer it exactly how you want to answer it.
That's fine, girl.
I
Go
took
ahead, Sarah.
I took that I took all that information that you said, and I'm like visualizing like a mindset shift on my end. I definitely think since stepping into entrepreneurship, I'm working on changing my mindset so that I am the best me, like showing up in my business. So, some things that I've started doing are I got a new devotional, and I'm tackling that. I got some, what are they? What are they? Help me. Um, um, not
Gee,
mantra,
listen, you.
not
Or
mantras,
affirmations.
affirmation cards, and I've started incorporating those, and I'm also started incorporating some like books that will help shift my mindset, one of them being the 4-hour work week. If you haven't read that, I suggest that you look into that. It's all about like mindset shifting, of like a boss person, like we about to work 4 hours and we're about to make 6 figures, like that type of mindset shift.
Write
So
that down.
yeah, write that down, yeah. But I think it's not perfectly aligned how I want it to be, but I think I am making strides in the right direction in order to, have that, mindset of, you know, that I want to be successful within my business. When I work with people, the first thing I always do is we change their mindset, because a lot of people can get in their mind and talk about, think negatively about themselves, and like Lauren said earlier, like not show up as the boss, imposter syndrome, all that stuff. So I believe it starts inside, internally, with manifestation, with what goes on in your brain. So that's how I am shifting everything over here.
Yeah, I feel like with me, my occupational wellness has probably gone up, stepping into entrepreneurship, only because I've kind of always had a boss or a leader mentality. So the biggest conflicts for me was to not necessarily like shade my light, but to not be offensive or overpowering or overstepping who is in leadership when I was in my 9 to 5 roles. So I feel like my occupational wellness and balancing my work life is cool because as the boss that I've always thought I am, getting to watch myself actually maneuver in that function and actually have things to say, in conversation with other entrepreneurs, or when I get the opportunity to just randomly talk about my business to individuals, that actually makes me feel really good. It makes me feel like empowered that I'm creating something, not spawning out of something else or not spawning out of someone else's dream or anything like that. But I've been able to, through my own course and my own journey, build what I see as a vision, and then giving that to the world and actually having other people be receptive to it. So that kind of puts me in a space of where, while I'm in the honeymoon stage right now, most things are not really feeling like work. I do look at things as tasks, and most of my days I categorize into task or obligations to others. That's my two ways of working. And so when I have things that I have to do, I just look at them as tasks. And I just know there's a deadline on this task. I know how long I need to do this task. So I prioritize it in that way, to whereas, for example, we had a event this weekend, mommy and me sipping paint, and Lauren blessed me with the contract to do the media capture of the event. And she didn't give me a specific deadline. I did want to have it back to her within the week, but because I said, hey, I took like a 3-4 hour nap after my last meeting yesterday, and woke up around 8 or 9 o'clock and started working on this project. And I was working on it till about 12:1. And I just said, hey, I'm done. It was the task wasn't complete, which was a post that Propel Productions just put on. The task wasn't complete, but I was done. And I didn't feel any type of way about that because I'm like, I know that the project will get completed. It will, and I want to give my best self to the project. So I'm going to give the project my best self when I'm my best self. I wasn't my best self at 1:30 in the morning where I was mad tired. So I woke up today, started working on it again, and it'll probably be finished by the end of the day. So those type of task-based things, I look at it in that way. And then when I have my obligations to people, for example, if I have a meeting, if I have to actually go in to an individual place, I have to show up, I prioritize it in the same fashion, wanting to make sure that I do what I need to do prior to or after or in between those obligations to others that make sure that when I do show up to those, I'm my best self. So I always take those moments, even if like before the podcast, I normally like to be just relaxing for at least an hour. Unfortunately, I didn't get that today, but on most days, if I do have to show up and I have to what I consider be my public self, when me and Lauren are just talking, me, Lauren, and Sarah just talking, I'm the same person, but I'm a little less animated. When I actually have to be my public self, I want to make sure I got that energy. So my work-life balance or my life-work balance is all about taking those nuggets throughout the day where in a 9 to 5, you probably won't get to do that because you're sitting in an environment and they're looking like, unless you're on break, this is company time. So you need to be producing for the company in that space. I'm my own boss. So I don't have to clock a timesheet. I can work when I want to work. As Sarah said, sometimes her work day doesn't even start till 8 p.m. Now, for the average person, they would say, that's ridiculous. Why would you wait till because I can, and that's what best fit into my life at this moment. So overall, I feel like I take tidbits from each of these ladies and how I want to maneuver in my boss space.
Tidbits. Shout out to Latasha.
Shout out to Latasha, right?
For me, I feel like my occupational wellness is very wonky. I'm in this weird space. I like what Sarah said about mindset, where I am now self-aware of what burnout looks like, what exhaustion looks like, what stress looks like as an entrepreneur. And I am working on implementing systems and strategies to walk me back away from that cliff. However, I didn't get to that burnout and that exhaustion overnight. There are habits that I have, there are lifestyles that I've incorporated and embedded within what I do that have gotten me there. So I'm trying to learn which habits are the toxic ones and which lifestyle moments are the toxic ones. And I'm trying to unlearn those while learning healthier ones. And of course, since I'm already in a habit of that whole hustle mentality, that hustle mindset where I could sleep when I'm dead and I need to work all hours of the day and all hours of the night and skip parties and events to get certain things done. I'm already in that moment. So I'm now able to be a little bit more self aware and see that and be able to say, Lauren, remember you don't want to do that anymore. So let's try this instead. So I kind of compare it to like physical health. Like if you're ready to start your diet or your change, if you already know like, oh, I love cookies, I love brownies, I love chips, and you already have it in the house, figuring out like knowing that you need to buy the vegetables and you might even bottom and buy them. But when you walk into that kitchen again, your mind automatically goes to the chips and you need to be like, Lauren, put those chips down and grab a Greek yogurt. So I'm in that space as far as my occupational wellness. Lauren, it's 3:45 in the morning. Walk away from the laptop. Although I do work really well at night and overnight, but reminding myself, Lauren, you started at 10 a.m. You probably shouldn't still be working around 3:45 a.m. So let's walk away from that. Or Lauren, did you eat yet? You've been at this laptop for a while, or you've been bouncing meeting to meeting in a while. Have you eaten yet? So I'm actually in this weird matrix like space where I can see my unhealthy habits and I can see which habits I want to incorporate for new ones. So I'm in that weird like replace, put, replace, put, and some days I do well, and then other days I'm still at the laptop. So I'm in that, y'all know what I'm talking about, where you in that weird space. So it's very wonky. Like I can't tell right side from up. I'm in this holding plan, but I know that now that I'm more self-aware and I'm able to visualize my toxic habits, slowly but surely remove them and move towards a healthier lifestyle. So by the end of the year, that's another thing I want to say. By the end of the year, I would have eliminated some of my unhealthy, toxic workaholic strategies and sober up a bit and incorporate healthier, more safer for me mentally, emotionally habits around work. So that's how I'm moving from work life balance to life work balance as a boss. And lastly, guys, so our final segment of Feeling Trigger is Art of Expression, where we incorporate the expressive arts and we talk about how it's either helping us, well, not even either or helping or hurting, how it is helping us within our day. So, since this is the entrepreneur inaugural thing, we're all bosses, we're all small business owners. I want to talk about how music helps us throughout the day and what are you listening to throughout the day, if anything. Is it a sound machine? Like, what is it? What is your go-to thing to help regulate your emotions and your mood during the day?
Go ahead, Sarah.
So I always start my day with gospel, and that's what I listen to. I can't even hold you guys like if it's the radio, if it's the gospel radio, gospel stations, I'm just like, I like to feed my body with like very positive stuff. And honestly, the Lord is why I'm here today doing what I'm doing. And I always want him wrapped up in everything that I'm doing. So I know a lot of people are like, you don't listen to that song that just came out. I was like, no, unless it's a gospel song, because that's all that's over here. So like as I'm getting older, all I listen to is gospel. So if you want to call me an old grandma, call me an old grandma, but that's what's going on over here.
Yes, ma'am. Um, so because I didn't mention earlier, but as a part of produced in the Griotsphere, I'm also an artist. So my personal music and all my various art platform, my platforms of art or my mediums of art will also be produced under there. But as a hip hop artist, I tend to not really listen to a lot of music, only because in creation mode it's kind of hard getting other people's voices out of your head. So I do have certain artists I listen to. Like Sarah, I definitely have a what I call a gospel turn up playlist that is like the upbeat that gets my brain going, that gets me a little motivated, and then also the worship playlist that's sobers me and brings me to a good place when I might be a little bit out of whack. So but in terms of what I'm listening to, I listen to a lot of podcasts, which is why I actually, when we originally started talking about doing Feeling Triggered, I was super excited because I wanted a podcast. I have another one dropping soon as well, so y'all will hear about that. But my favorite right now is Here's the Thing with Kev on stage and that chick Angel. Why? Because Kev's journey as a content creator, a producer, a writer, is one that should be emulated because, in my opinion, he makes good quality, sound family Black content. Like, it gives all positive imagery of Black people. Is Black people enjoying themselves, having a good time. It's not trauma ridden. It's just good quality content. And it's motivating for me because it shows that is still a niche of content overall that people still want to consume. And that's the kind of content I want to make. I want to tell our stories, but not always make it about the trauma, because I feel like that's where people try to exploit the black story in general, because the trauma, as we know, in a society that's trash in some aspects, or has a lot of healing to do. I'll rephrase that. Society has a lot of healing to do. A lot of the Black content that we consume is very traumatic in one way or another, or it shows very bad images of us. And I just want to create a platform that is quality, good sound Black content. So I listen to Here's the Thing a lot as motivation to continue to do that and not sell out for $1.
Okay, I feel that.
Yeah.
For me, I would like to get a little bit more like Sarah with a morning ritual that is really much ingrained in my spiritual connection with God, but I'm not there yet. It's very spotty, it's very inconsistent. I like to gravitate to chill hop lately on YouTube as background music for me, especially if I'm feeling a little stressed or irritated about a particular thing that I'm working on, but it still needs to get done. So I'm still working on it. Putting on chill hop on YouTube or some lo-fi, I have fallen in love with that. And that's just because of interacting with the young people during Remix Rage and they told me about lo-fi. So I just got into that. But that just the instrumentals, the beats, the melody is just so soothing when I'm in a space of anxiety or stress. So I really appreciate that. I like the live version with the fox. No, it's not a fox, it's like a raccoon. So that's what I listen to when I need to decompress, but still I have to work. So yeah. Well, you guys have answered all of my questions. I just want to say I appreciate you guys coming on here, being a part of the inaugural shift in niche as far as feeling triggered, where we're now focusing on workaholics, entrepreneurs, small business owners, mompreneurs, Black owned businesses, minority owned, veteran owned. Like we're really trying to target those people, those entities, those individuals that are feeling some type of way navigating work and how to shift from being work focused to being more about life and more about balance and more about figuring out how are you being occupationally well within the different spaces. So I would love for you guys to come back almost every time, just so we can follow, the followers, the listeners can hear how you guys are doing and how you guys are progressing along your journey, what goals you're accomplishing, what challenges are you facing, airing out the dirty laundry of entrepreneurship and small business ownership. Maybe even do a couples edition because I would love to know how the husbands, the girlfriends are dealing with dating or being with an entrepreneur because that's a whole nother thing. But until then, thank you guys for joining. Thank you guys for listening to Feeling Triggered. Hopefully you felt some type of way, or at least something just hit your spirit, just ricocheted. And if you need to follow us, I'm sure Jarrell's going to put our social media stuff there or our website there so you can be in contact with us and you can see what we're doing with our everyday lives. And yeah, that's it. Thank you.